We now turn to page 2 for the blessing of the Shabbat candles. I'd like to invite my mom up to light the Shabbat candles.
Hear my prayer, I sing to you. Be gracious to the ones I love, and bless them with goodness and mercy and peace. Oh, hear my prayer to you. Let us light these lights and see the way to you, and let us say, Amen. Let us light these lights and see the way to you, and let us say, Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher gedishanu b'mitzvotov v'tzivanu lahad likner shel Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kedeshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehad likner shel Shabbat.
We now turn to page 20 for Lecha Dodi. Regarded as the heart of the Shabbat service, Lecha Dodi was composed by the great 16th century Kabbalist Shlomo Halevi Alkabetz. Many of his poems spell his name out acrostically, as we see here in the first 8 verses of Lecha Dodi. Please join us in Lecha Dodi on page 20.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabelah. Lecha Dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabelah. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad, Ishmi'anu el ha'echad, Adonai echad, Shemo echad, Hashem u'tiferet v'li'itilah. Lecha Dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabelah. Lecha Dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabelah. Likrat Shabbat lechuven elchad, Ishmi kor kaberachad, Mirosh mikedem nisukad, Soch machazeh b'matcher fatach Lecha Dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabelah. Lecha Dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabelah. Itoreri, Iva orech u'mi'iri, Uri, shidaberi, Yvon Adonai alek milah. Lecha Dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabelah. Lecha Dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabelah.
Please rise and face the entrance.
Ohi v'shalom ateret ba'ala, am b'simcha v'tzokola, toch emunei am segula, oech Allah. Lecha Dodi
Please remain
likrat
standing.
kala b'nei Shabbat nekabelah. Lecha Dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabelah.
We now turn to page 26 for the Reader's Kaddish.
Gadol, Vit Kadash, Shemei Rabbah, V'yalma Divra Kirutei, V'yamlich Malchutei, B'chayechon Uv'yomechon, Uv'chayei Kol Beit Yisrael, Bagala, Uvizman Kariv, Vimeru, Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevorach, Le'olam ol me'ol maya, Yitbarach, V'yishtabat, V'yitpar, V'yitromam, V'yitnaseh, V'yitadar, V'yitaleh, V'yitalol, Shemei Kudesham Richu, Le'olamim Kol Brechata V'shirata, Tushbechata V'nechemata, Tamin Ran V'yalma, V'meru, Amen.
We remain standing and turn to page 28 for the Baruch Hu.
Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Yalai, lai, lai, 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 yalai, lai, lai. Baruch et Adonai, Hamevorach. Baruch Adonai, Hamevorach, Le'olam va'ed, Le'olam va'ed. Yalai, lai, lai, 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 yalai, lai, lai.
Excuse me. You may now be seated as we turn to page 34 for the formal declaration of faith, the Shema.
Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kivod Achato. Le'olam va'ed. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto. Le'olam va'ed. Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Please turn to page 36 for Thou Shalt Love.
Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. And these words which I command you on this day shall be in thy heart, shall be in thy heart. Thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and thou shalt speak of them when thou sittest in thy house, when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, when thou risest up, when thou risest up. Thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thy hand, and they shall be for frontlets between thine eyes. Thou shalt write them on the doorposts of thy house and upon thy gates, and upon thy gates, that ye shall remember and do all of my commandments, and be holy unto your God, unto your God, unto your God.
Now, here's the part that normally I would say we will now go to page 36 for Micha Mocha, the song that the Israelites sang when crossing the sea to escape Pharaoh. But instead, we will be singing Miriam's song because it's my mom's favorite. So please turn to page 342 for Miriam's song.
And women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song, the one whom we've exalted. Miriam and the women dance and dance all night long. And Miriam was a weaver of unique variety. The tapestry she wove, which one would sing our history. With every strand and every thread she crafted her delight. A woman touched with spirit as she danced towards a light. And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song, the one whom we've exalted. Miriam and the women dance and dance all night long. When Miriam stood upon the shore and gazed across the sea, the wonder of this miracle she soon came to believe. Whoever thought the sea would part with an outstretched hand, and we would pass to freedom and march to the promised land. And women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one whom we've exalted. Miriam and the women dance and dance all night long. And Miriam the prophet took her timbrel in her hand, and all the women followed her just as she had planned. And Miriam raised her voice in song, she sang with praise and might. We've just lived through a miracle, we're gonna dance tonight. And women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song, the one whom we've exalted. Miriam and the women dance and dance all night long. Micha Mocha Ba'elim Adonai, Micha Mocha Ne'edav HaKodesh, Noran Ilodo say fele, Torah tehilot, oh say fele.
We will now turn back to page 42 for the Hashkivenu.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Lishalom Amideinu Shomrenu L'chaim. Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us in wisdom, compassion, and trust. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Lishalom Amideinu Shomrenu L'chaim. Save us for the sake of your name. Shield us from hatred, sorrow, and pain. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Lishalom Amideinu Shomrenu
We will now turn to page 44 for Vishamru. Now, Vishamru, I think of Vishamru as having kind of two main components to it. On one hand, it's a very integral part to our Shabbat service. It's a declaration of preserving the unique bond between us and God that is Shabbat. And on the other hand, it's a fun song for the kids because they get to get up and spin around. So there's that too. All right, Vishamru on page 44.
Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat laso et ha-Shabbat l'dorot berit olam. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat laso et ha-Shabbat l'dorot berit olam. B'nei uvein b'nei Yisrael oti leolam. Oti leolam. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat l'dorot berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim v'et ha'aretz. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat l'dorot berit olam. Ufhayom hashvi'i Shabbat v'yinafash, Shabbat v'yinafash, Shabbat v'yinafash. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat l'dorot berit olam. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat l'dorot berit olam. We
now turn to page 46 for the beginning of Tefillah, the central prayers of our worship that focus on key aspects of God's holiness and our commitment to Him. Please join me in Tefillah, and then we will go straight into Takadosh on page 52.
Adonai, Sifata Tiftaku Fia Gita Hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elokei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elokei Avraham, Elokei Yitzhak, v'Elokei Yaakov, Elokei Sarah, Elokei Rivka, Elokei Rachel, v'Elokei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Chanorah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei HaKol, V'Zocher Hastei Avot V'Imachot, U'Mevigula Lifnei V'Nechem, L'man Shemo B'Yakava, Melech Otzir Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham V'Izrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol Atarav L'Koshiach Marit Hatal, V'Chokel Chaim B'Chesed, Mechayeh HaKol B'Rakamim Rabim, So'omech Noflim V'Rofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayeh Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Michamocha Ba'Gevurot, Umido Melach, Melech Meimit, Umechayeh, Umatziach Yeshua, V'nemanatav L'Kayot HaKol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol. Atah Kadosh, Ishim HaKadosh, Ukdoshim B'chol Yom, Ya'alelu Selah, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh, you are holy, and your name is holy. Those who strive to be holy, declare your glory day by day. Blessed is our God, blessed is the one, whole world ablaze with splendor. Atah Kadosh, Vishim HaKadosh, Ukdoshim B'chol Yom, Ya'alelu Selah, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
We now turn to page 253 for the Mishaberach. First, I will read the list of those. What?
You be seated.
Oh, sorry, you could be seated. Sorry. First, I will read the list of those currently in need of healing, and then please feel free to mention someone you may know who is in need of healing as my hand passes. We offer prayers of healing for Harvey Adelsky, Sherry Alexander, Richard Barker, Betty Berlin, Lynn Birmingham, Raven Chong, Ray Clark, Bruce Cohen, Isidore Cohen, Mary Davis, Stephen Despins, Claire DeVoskin, Mitch Earl, Steve Eckber, Beth Enig, Aaron and Roz Feingold, Kathleen Forch, Dr. Bruce Fox, Bobby Fredrickson, Lauren Friedman, Bob Gans, Max Gans, Morris Golden, Sandy Golden, Gloria Goldsmith, Tom Gorgone, Rick Hack, George Campbell Hamilton, Braden Hink, Helen Holzman, Blake Hull, Laura Jacoby, Jordan Jenkins, Linda Jenkins, Shannon Jenkins, Al Justan, Layla Kaminer, Jackie Capstein, Marilyn Krasnov, Cindy Levine, Ken Levy, Marcia Levy, Dorothy London, Bob Luciano, Liz Lyman, Lisa Macklin, Jody Batmasha, Roberto Mabisher, Yarden Mayer Ben Yitzhak, Arnold Mayer, Phyllis Mix, Lowell Morrow, Shana Bat Moshe, Greg Mosher, Mark Newerman, Arthur Newman, Jacob Newman, Joyce Newman, Kathy Rasnick, David Rechman, Barbara Rittman, Deborah Rohan, Barry Rosenblatt, Norman Rosenblatt, Sherry Rosenblum, Patty Savage, Donald Schaefer, Brian Schneider, Eric Schuster, Jillian Sekulis, Lee Sexton, Nancy Shallett, Sharon Scherer, Peggy Sharp, Judith Siegel, Carter Silk, Carol Silver, Nicole Aronson Silverman, Dee Singer, Debbie Singerman, Ellen Sklerov, Maureen Sklerov, Melissa Smith, Robin Weinstein, Faye Yeager, Paul Zale, and Rochelle Zweben. Please say anyone's name who is in need of healing as my hand passes. All right. Let's join in together as a community on page 253 in the Misha Berach.
May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, a renewal of body, a renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
We will now take a moment for silent meditation. Please feel free to use any of the readings on pages 53 to 63 for insight or inspiration during this time. You can find the words to Ose Shalom on page 62.
Osei Shalom, Bimrama, Uyasei Shalom. Osei Shalom, Bimrama, Uyasei Shalom. Aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael, v'yimeru amen. Aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael, v'yimeru amen. May the one who makes peace in high places. May the one who makes peace in high places. Send peace to us and to all Israel, and let us say amen. Send peace to us and to all Israel, and let us say amen. Say shalom.
All right, you're all now free to close your books for the time being while I give the Devar Torah. Unless you want to keep them open. If I'm boring, you can feel free to flip through. All right, so this week's Parsha is Parshat Pinchas. Although this Parsha is usually remembered for the story of Pinchas, the grandson of Aaron, who is also the namesake for the Parsha, it comprises of 4 key stories. First, Pinchas' story, which is followed by the census of the Israelites. Then, there's a legal matter regarding the daughters of Zelophehad. It's always a tricky name, Zelophehad. And lastly, Moses' death. The Parsha starts off with the telling of Pinchas' zealotry, killing an Israelite man and a Midianite woman who publicly sinned in front of the congregation of Israel as an attempt to bring them to idolatry. For his act, Hashem rewards Pinchas, telling Moses, Hineni notain li et briti shalom. I grant him my covenant of peace. V'haita lo ulzaro acharav brit kahunat olam. It shall be for him and his descendants after him a covenant of priesthood for all time. Tachat asher kinei lelohav v'chaper al bnei Yisrael. Because he took impassioned action for his God and atoned for the children of Israel. Pinchas' actions not only calmed Hashem's anger and atoned for Israel's sins, but he secured his position as the Kohen Gadol, the high priest, as well as the priesthood continuing on throughout his descendants. After the matter with Pinchas, Hashem commands Moses to take a census of the people. This is the second census Moses is commanded to take, the first of which was at the very beginning of the book of Numbers in Parshat Bamidbar. In the first census, we are only given a number population for each tribe of Israel, but in the second census, we are given more detail into the genealogy and individual families of each of the tribes. The reason for this is that the second census is taken at the end of the 40 years of wandering in the desert. It is meant to establish which descendants of each tribe will each get their own portion of land in the land of Israel. As it says in the Parsha, Le'ele tichalek haaretz benachala bemispar shemot. Among these shall the land be apportioned as shares according to the listed names. The people listed in the census are the ones who are to settle the land, not just as members of Israel, but also as individual tribes and families. Right after the taking of the census, the 5 daughters of Zelophehad approached Moses with a dispute. Their father had died in the wilderness, and the current laws regarding inheritance up until now only included the sons. They said to Moses, Lama yigara shem avinu mitoch mishpachato kain ein lo ben. Let not our father's name be lost to his family because he had no son. Tana lanu achuzeh b'toch echei avinu. Give us a possession among the family of our father. Moses took the case to Hashem, who grants their request, and has Moses teach a new law to the people, that if a man has no sons, his possessions go to his daughters. After the case of the daughters of Zelophehad, the parsha turns to the death of Moses. Now, first of all, one note I'll make here is that, as you may know, if you've spent time studying the Torah, you may know, not everything is necessarily in chronological order. Sometimes, things are obviously taken out of order to provide a deeper context, and don't worry, I'm going to get somewhere with that. But Moses does not die immediately after this issue with the daughters of Zelophehad. He dies at the end of the book of Deuteronomy, so there's a little bit more, but again, just keep that in mind. Anyways, continuing. So after the case of the daughters of Zelophehad, the parsha turns to the death of Moses. He's commanded by Hashem to go up Mount Avarim to be shown the land of Israel before he dies. Moses asks for Hashem to appoint a new leader for the people of Israel to follow, and Hashem appoints Joshua, son of Nun, who is referred to as Ish Asher Ruach, a man with spirit. We are then given the origin of the rabbinical ordination process called smicha, or leaning, in which Moses leaned on Joshua to pass his authority over to him. Each of these stories in this week's parsha is unique and gives insight into a variety of different topics, such as family law, the genealogy of the tribes of Israel, and the rabbinical ordination. But one common and vital theme we see in all of these stories is legacy. In the story of Pinchas, his actions of zealotry not only atoned for Israel's sins and secured his own position as Kohen Gadol, but he secured the lineage of the priesthood for his descendants for all time. In the census, we see how the Torah goes into detail about the families and genealogy within each tribe. This was because this group of people was not only continuing the legacy of the generation of the desert, but also laid some of the foundations for future generations of Israel. The daughters of Zelophehad fought to acquire land not only for their own legacy, but for their father's legacy. Moses' leadership is not merely replaced by Joshua, but the Torah makes a point to say that Joshua's leadership is a continuation of Moses's. When Hashem tells Moses to make Joshua the new leader, he tells him, V'samachta et yadacha alav, and lean your hand upon him, v'natata mehodcha alav laman, and put your own honor on him. Joshua embodied the values of a leader. He put the needs of Hashem and the rest of the people of Israel before his own. He emulated the same attributes as Moses himself and continued Moses' legacy. Now, we have to ask ourselves, how do we continue the legacy of the Jewish people today? Well, you could join Torah study groups and teach what you learn to your family and friends. You can raise awareness for anti-Semitism and stand up for Israel's right to exist. You can come to Shabbat services and join together with your community in prayer and Torah. You could donate tzedakah to various different Jewish organizations. There is always something you can do to continue the legacy of the Jewish people. You just have to find your method of doing so. No matter what you choose to do to continue the legacy of the Jewish people, make sure you do something. Shabbat Shalom. Please turn to page 282 for Elenu.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'tekdu la liotzer bereshit, shelo asonager yeharatzot, v'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kachem, v'goralenu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, Umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu
Page 287.
v'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu Yeh Adonai Echad, Ushemo Echad. Maybe see it.
So yeah, you may be seated. We now turn to page 294 for the mourner's Kaddish. First, I will read the list of names whose yahrzeit it is, followed by a list of those who have passed in recent months. And then I will have my hand passed by again, and please share the name of a loved one who's recently passed or who you are remembering tonight. We're remembering Albert Ackerstein, George Cohen, Judy Telefuente, Jerry Ehrenfund, Ralph Friedlander, Madeline G. Greenwald, Elsie Ireland, Janet Katz, Joanne Theresa Kerker, Teddy Landau, Miriam Lieblein, Robert Lynn, Rosalie Marks, Maydell Maynard, Hyman Migdal, Albert Rasnick, Dorothy Silver. Now, those who have passed in recent months: Paul Graboff, Evelyn Hausman Morris, Evelyn Gross, Larry Bauman, Jack Mendel, Charlene Jacoby, Barbara Wallen Kirschner, Stephanie Cooper Schulman, Francine Friedlander, Arlene Muniek, Clyde Teasley, Emily Jane Edelstein, Jeffrey Bruce Seiben, Gordon Goldsmith, Hartley Stephen Spat, David Benowitz, Josh Yellen, Leon Rechtman, Robert Shaw, Roger Despins, Ilan David Masseri, Betty Besser, Marlene Kaplan, Edith Ekber, Jay Anthony, Marcia Kurtz, Bernice Bunny Mayer, Melody Hudgens, Philip Kaufman, Jessica Berkeley, Eva Rothstein, David Bemis, and Henry Menninger. Please share the name of a loved one as my hand passes. We now rise as a community on page and go to page 294 for the mourner's Kaddish. Yikadal v'yikadash shemei Rabbah v'yama divra chirute v'yamlik malchute v'chayechon u'v'yamechon u'v'chayet dekol beit Yisrael ba'gala u'v'zman kariv v'mu amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olmei almayah yitbarak v'yishtabat v'yipar v'yitramam v'yinaseh V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudisha b'richu le'olam mimkol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata tamin ran v'yama v'yimur amen. Yehi shlam harabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'yoko Yisrael v'yimur amen. Osei shalom b'imrama v'yasei shalom aleinu v'yoko Yisrael v'yimur amen. It is now time to celebrate July birthdays, and you may be seated. So, unless July birthdays, if you want them to rise for you, they can. Any July birthdays? You get a chocolate bar. Yeah, we're gonna have a lot more birthdays now.
In order to get a bar, you have to say who you are and at least the date of your birthday.
Ross Rosen, July 27th, the proud Leo.
Kira Goldman, July 15th. I'm going to be 40.
Deborah Brenner, July 20th. I'll be 61.
Yom Haledet Sameach, Yom Haledet Sameach, Yom Haledet Sameach, Yom Haledet Sameach.
Great. Thank you, guys. Happy birthday. All right, it's now time for announcements. Please join us next Friday, July 14th at 8 p.m. as Rabbi Gottfried will lead her first Shabbat service for the TKE community. On July 21st, Mitchell Barrick will be leading while Rabbi Gottfried is out of town. And then we're happy that Rabbi Gottfried will be leading services for the rest of the summer and into 5784. You can see our upcoming events in your program handout, and I want to briefly draw your attention to a few items. Help build a house. The TKE Habitat for Humanity Build Day is Sunday, July 16th at 1 p.m. in Mableton. No experience or equipment is necessary. You just need to be at least 16 years old. See Paul and Paula Wilson after the service or email them for more info. We are looking forward to welcoming Family Promise to the Doc Lebo Center during the last week of July. We expect to be hosting 2 or 3 families. Please make your end of summer more meaningful and join us for this important volunteer opportunity. For more information and to sign up online, visit www.kolemeth.net. And please check out kolemeth.net and Vida Tequila on Tuesday mornings to learn more about these activities and everything else going on. And then following services, please join us for an oneg in the social hall.
And return your books to the trolley.
Return your books. All right. We'll now turn to page 4 for Kiddush and Hamotzi.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kedeshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kadsho, b'achava uvratzon inilanu, zikaron lemahase v'reishis. Kihu yom tehila lemikrai kodesh, zecher l'tziad mitzrayim. Kivanu v'acharta, yotanu yidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kadshecha, B'achava uveratzon hinhaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat.
It's not man of Shabbat, but it's all right. All right, and if any of the kids want to come up to help with Hamotzi, or if they don't want to, it's more for me.
Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. We give thanks to God for bread.
Thanks, God.
Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Careful. All right, we will.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. We will now go to the social hall for an oneg. Shabbat shalom. And come here if you want challah.